Hey guys, it's Jeff. So in this video, I want to discuss where you can apply your money if you're looking to support the Second Amendment and in what organizations can best defend the position of the Second Amendment. So we've seen a lot of attacks coming out of Congress. We've got the HR 127 bill. We've got Joe Biden on Valentine's Day calling for legislative action. We got Nancy Pelosi also calling for legislative action as the Speaker of the House. She has a lot of power to bring bills out of committee and onto the House floor for a vote, especially now that they have a major majority in the House of Representatives. Now, a lot of people are saying, from my cold dead hands, or they'll never, shall not comply, etc., etc. And as much as I admire those positions, I think the reality is if they get these laws passed, and these laws have a very high likelihood of getting passed, especially now that the Democrats are putting the filibuster on the table as a potential issue to remove. And if they remove the filibuster, then the ability for the Democrats to just use a simple majority when passing legislation through the Senate is going to be a no-brainer. We've already seen efforts and discussions around removing the filibuster. I think that if they can assert enough pressure on the Senate that they could get that removed, and if they get that removed, it's a simple majority for every bill that comes through from that point forward. I think there's naysayers on both sides. I think some people say it can't happen. I think some people are assured it will happen. I think time will tell as this unfolds whether we see it happen or not. However, I think it's important that if you're concerned by this, if you're concerned by the possibility of legislation being enacted, then I think fighting with your dollars makes as much sense as anything. And I think it's important that we all remember that the Constitution isn't just for Democrats or Republicans, conservatives or liberals. It's for everybody. This entire country benefits by the Bill of Rights and the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. I think it's gotten us to where we are today, and I don't think it needs to be messed with. I think those rights are there as civil rights to preserve our freedoms and preserve the way of life that we've come to expect. Now, if you want to work on the fringes, if you want to affect some of the issues that are going on the edges of society, then absolutely. But I don't think guns are one of those things. I think it's absolutely a core tenet to freedom and liberty in the United States. And I think an attack on that is an attack on freedom itself. So anyway, that's my opinion on that. Now, why is it important that you get involved? Well, it's important that you get involved because if these laws do get passed and they do get put onto the books, it may not be easy for states to enforce, or there may be an unwillingness for local jurisdictions to want to enforce, especially in these sanctuary states where some of these state legislatures have passed laws to prevent federal action from occurring within their borders when it comes to the Second Amendment. However, that's not everybody, and that's not everywhere, and there are a lot of people that will be affected by the legislation that does get passed, and there will be plenty of mayors and police chiefs and sheriffs throughout the United States that'll be far too willing to execute on federal law that brings dollars into their jurisdictions. And there's a lot of carrots being thrown at these jurisdictions in order to incentivize enforcement of these laws. So, your state may be one of the lucky states where they're creating a jurisdictional conflict where the feds can't operate in the states where you may have those protections, but it doesn't mean that you're 100% protected. So the feds will act on a federal case even though the states have said it's not okay for local jurisdictions to support. Now, for the states who don't have those, what happens? Well, you get pulled over because you have a tail light out. Cop looks in your car, sees one of those illegal magazines, and now he has probable cause to search your vehicle. He pops the trunk, he finds your AR-15 in there. Now you're in possession of a federally banned firearm without a tax license or a tax stamp or whatever language they put on those devices. And now you've committed a federal offense that has a punishment that could be a felony, could be whatever, but now they've also got probable cause to search your home. So now they've got probable cause to search your home and they find your gun safe. And in your gun safe, you have 100 AR magazines or you have 100 AK magazines. And each one of those comes with a felony. And you have 3 or 4 AR-15s and you have an AK-47 or you have some other semi-automatic weapon that you did not comply or did not register. Now you've become a multiple felony over and over and over and over again. And what does that do? Well, your USCCA isn't going to protect you. Your firearms defense shield isn't going to protect you, or whatever these bogus insurance companies are that are taking your money because they're preying on your fear. They're not going to protect you because you've committed a felony. So what are you going to do now? Well, you're going to go to prison. That's what you're going to do. So if you don't fight this now with your dollars and cents now, you're going to fight with your dollars and cents later on when you're getting a defense lawyer to keep you out of prison. When a law gets passed, it doesn't have to be constitutional in order to get passed and infect your life. And once you've been arrested, now you've been what the legal community calls being injured. And once you're injured, then you can file a petition to dismiss the case based off of constitutional grounds. Now, your local judges, the ones in your local jurisdictions, your district judges and that sort of thing, they're usually not going to hear a request for dismissal based off of the constitutionality of a law. And so it's going to have to be escalated to a larger jurisdiction so that the constitutionality of a law can be determined. And if something then is determined to be unconstitutional, then that's your get out of jail free, and everybody in that district gets to fall under that new rule that the district judge puts in place. However, that's only jurisdictional for that district, and there's multiple districts in the United States. Now, this is getting into the nuances of the legal system, but just because something in one district has been ruled as unconstitutional doesn't mean that another district is also going to accept that constitutionality. And so if your case gets dismissed in one district, it has to be appealed to the Supreme Court before the ruling of the courts is determined throughout the rest of the United States. Just because a legislature and a president signs a bill into law doesn't mean that even its constitutionality matters. You have to be injured by that law before a judge will hear a case. And in the meantime, you're paying for legal defense, you're paying for expert witnesses to come and testify on your behalf, and you're having to put your life on hold while you're going to court, while you're sitting in jail, while you're paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to defend yourself from something that was unconstitutional to begin with. So it's better to fight in the beginning than it is to fight in the end. I think it's important that you find organizations that align with your beliefs, and there's a lot of them out there. So I just want to cover a couple of them, talk about them real quick if there's anything to say. So I found a bunch of different organizations, and I was able to pull up their tax filings to see how much money, how much revenue that they generate. And most of these organizations did their 2019 filings, so it shows their 2018 calendar year or fiscal year for their budgetary purposes. So I'm going to tell you what the numbers were, and this is as of 2 or 3 years ago, but it'll give you an idea of the size of these organizations and whether they're deserving of your money, or if they even have the war chest to make your dollars worthwhile, or if they're putting money back into their own pockets, because obviously this type of effort is a money-making generator for a lot of these organizations. So, fear sells. Both sides use fear. I think one of them is legit. I think the other one is just fear mongering. So anyway, going through this list, I have Firearms Policy Coalition. Again, this is as of 2018. They had $1.1 million of income. Firearms Policy Foundation, they had $150,000 as of 2018. Gun Owners of America, as again 2018, $4.8 million. National Rifle Association income as of 2018, $350 million. Now, I want to talk about them for just a minute. They're the largest gun rights organization in the United States. They've been around for a long time, over 150 years. We know that they've had some mismanagement. Wayne LaPierre has done a pretty piss poor job of marketing the organization as much as he's marketing himself. And I think their bankruptcy filing is going to cause them a lot of damage. And I think there's a lot of anti-gun people out there that are happy that the NRA is bankrupting itself, that Wayne LaPierre has mismanaged it, that it's going to go into oblivion because they are a big target for the anti-gun crowd. Now, does that mean that you should support them? I don't know. I can't say. You should answer that question for yourself. However, I think it is worthwhile to note that even though they're having problems with their management, they are the biggest kid on the block in our legislature, and it would be foolhardy to ignore the fact that they do have a voice. So take that for what it's worth. I'm just a guy on the internet talking shit, but I think they do have value. I think there is some redeemable qualities in that organization, and I think we allow them to go bankrupt and dissolve at our own peril. I don't think any of these other organizations are even close. Even combined, none of these organizations come close to the amount of power that the NRA has. So anyway, Gun Owners of America, 4.8 million. NRA as of 2018, 350 million. Second Amendment Foundation, 4.7 million. The Texas State Rifle Association, 1.1 million. And then you get into some of these other smaller organizations: California State Rifle Association, the Georgia Carry Association, Florida Carry, the National African American Gun Association, getting politically active. I couldn't find any money on them or any dollars on them. Some of these other smaller organizations, they were harder to find information on. So anyway, if there's an organization out there, you know, the Pink Pistols supports LGBTQ rights when it comes to Second Amendment ownership. I think that's a great opportunity to support if you believe in that. Pink Pistols also does women's rights when it comes to gun ownership. The African American Gun Owners Association, if you're a minority, if you're an African American or you're a black gun owner and you're looking for an association that aligns with your beliefs around the Second Amendment, that may be one to consider as well. But all of these other organizations, a lot of them legal type entities that do a lot of work when it comes to filing cases and supporting your legislative actions in your states and at the federal level, I think they're worthwhile. I think they provide a benefit, and if you think so too, throwing them a few bucks here won't hurt, and an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So anyway, that's all I got for this video, guys. I know it's a lot of information. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, consider a subscription. Subscriptions motivate me to continue to make this kind of content for you guys. If you haven't followed me on my other social media platforms, you know, Parler's back. I just wanted to make that point. I'm active on Parler. I'm active on MeWe. I do use Bitchute, and I do upload my content to Rumble. However, Rumble is delayed in how much of my content it allows it to be monetized. So I think if it's not monetized, it's not making it out there. But anyway, I've got a few dozen subscribers on all those platforms. So if you use those other platforms, I invite you to follow me there as well. Until next time, guys, I will see you soon. Stay vigilant, stay in the fight, and until next time, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.